All right, welcome. We're live on YouTube somewhere and I don't see it. Oh, there it is. All right, so let me just turn that down. Welcome. Very cool. Whoop.
By the stain of this person.
Very cool show. Let's just go back and get this.
I don't see it. Oh, there it is. All right.
Okay, so I am going to share this link on YouTube now. How to be a healer. Being you. Miracles, magic, Ralph and Jen, and Dr. Tom. IMPWellnessCenter.com and our site autoimmuneanswers.com. Okay, let's go see Tom. Okay, so welcome everybody, and so much wonderful stuff is coming in now in so many cool ways, and what's showing up I see is a real need, and also a blessing, a gift, a thing that's happening that can look like such an obstacle, like such a disaster, one of my favorite authors, Ryan Holiday, says, do not waste this disaster. And the idea of using this disaster or this challenge or this big problem as the actual catapult to what you're here to do. That perhaps maybe if you hadn't had the obstacle, the problem, the challenge, that you wouldn't have become the person that you're destined to become. And it's not about just finding a life that's easy. You know, it's been said that the easy life is hard, because if you just take the easy way out all the time, you get to the end of your life and it's like, man, I didn't go for it. And so the hard life can be thought of as easy. Basically, overcoming your fears and overcoming your concerns and your self-doubt and your anxieties and your imposter syndromes. And if there's something that you really, really want to do, a deep desire that doesn't seem to keep going away, but you're not getting there, how can you get there? And so I've been posting about stuff recently because I found my version to do what I feel I'm here to do. And I know Tom has found his version, Tom Giammatteo. And let's move him over to panelists. And so so how do we get you to find your version? That's the thing that we're looking for. So I'm going to ask Tom about stuff, because he's bringing something that had come. We had such an amazing time back when Sharon Giammatteo was here, and everybody was following her all over the world. I was following her all over, her and Tom all over the United States and Canada. And I don't know why we don't see Tom.
Still can't access it, Ralph. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah. Let's see, video. I think I set it up. Let me go make
Post has disabled the video.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's see. How do I do that? Set video.
You got to make me a panelist or something like that.
I think we can panel. Let's see. Enable my video. Let's see. I seem to always have an issue with this every time. I think I do it correctly, and let's see if I can just get you even more, make you a co-host.
I think that was the next step in this process, yeah.
Let's see. I think what's happening is Zoom is changing all their security things over and over again because of so many people using Zoom, and some bad guys using Zoom or something. So they want to make sure only people allowed are in or something like that. So good to see you, Tom.
Hey, Ralph, hold on a second. I'm gonna do that.
There we are.
Here you go. Okay.
I was thinking
Are
about
you-
today, and it's been showing up over and over the past few days of it's just time. It's time. I've told a story of how quite a while ago Ben, our little boy, had a problem with reading, and we had to go through a big training evaluation process in the regular school system. We were in Montessori school, but they system with all these specialists, PhDs, psychologists, special ed teachers, to figure out how come Ben had this one problem with reading. And they found, he's really smart, which we knew, and he's really excited about learning, and he wants to do everything really well, but he had this one problem. And so they went into great depth and detail and said, okay, we'll take him out of the private school, we'll put him in this public school program, 4 hours a day for the full school year. This was like a year or so ago. And I was like, okay, you guys are the experts. This sounds good. And I said, how long does it take to fix this sort of thing up? And they looked at me like, oh no, he's going to have this for the rest of his life. This is going to be college. And I'm like, no, that doesn't feel right. And I told Jen, I said, somebody has fixed this. And so within a day, she found a guy from England that had the same problem. He described the exact same thing. And he just toughed it out, and then he became an engineer, but he had this problem with reading. And they had 2 boys, and they had the same problem. And somehow he figured out how to fix it up. And then he developed a whole program using computer animation and all sorts of games and stuff, and created a course. And so we bought the course, and right away Ben loved it, and it was just so much fun. And within a few days and then a few weeks, the teachers were like, "What are you guys doing?" And it fixed it. A few months. And so so I was thinking, these days somebody has fixed or solved a problem, and someone else is really needing that fix, that solution. And if somebody isn't taking it to the market, like overcoming their own fears and their own insecurities and their own imposter syndrome and their own self-doubts and any kind of health challenges that's in the way, and learning the art and the science of bringing something to market and finding the people that are looking desperately for you, now is the time to do that. And I have so many people on our list that they want physical healings, and that's what we work with. But so many of them want to be healers themselves, and they are healers in their own right, in that they've taken lots of classes and they can do lots of cool. But I've had people say, "Oh yeah, the work sells itself," and they're saying that to me because they don't want to do any marketing and they're scared out of their minds. And I ask them, well, how many clients do you have? It's like, I've got 1 client. I'm thinking of stopping my lease because nobody's showing up. It's like the work's not selling itself. And so so it was like all of it kind of fits together. And I was with a really cool guy, Truth Seeker podcast, and he's got a course of how to help people in the healing arts bring their stuff to market. And I was thinking, how do we just your thoughts about like integrated manual therapy? We had a system where we traveled around the world, and me around the US and Canada, and learned the system of hands-on and stuff. And you're starting to work into how do we do this online? You're starting that kind of thing. These days, people that are like listening to you and hearing these stories and how this how to it resonates, like here's how you find and help somebody clear a condition. And I want to be able to do that too. And these days, what direction do you see your work going, and how can somebody be part of this world and learn what you've got without having to be chiropractic medical school, naturopathic medical school, traditional Chinese medicine medical school, physical therapy medical school? It's like integrated manual therapy, 110 classes like I did. Like, what do you see now?
Well, a couple things. On September 12th, we're actually having a physical class here in West Hartford, Connecticut, which is the entrance into the school system, which is an old method. So it's the start of the school semester, the first year. So between September 12th and September 14th is the myofascial release class. And then September 15th through the 18th is the first diagnostic class. And we've had many discussions on, the old titles of physical therapist, chiropractor, doctor are breaking down. The systems are breaking down there, but I still feel that the school we developed, the hands-on physical school here, is amazing.
It is.
And trying to compensate for that. So if anybody wants to come out and hang with us, imtwellnesscenter.com, and you can find out how to sign up for the class, or call me later. We can help get you. But we have probably about 6 seats left, and we got about 6 students here. But it's really that's the first tool out there. And if we look at all our systems, Ralph, all the big guys that we studied with in the 80s and the 90s, and then the first year of the 2000s, and now, they've all gone through these crescendos and dropping off. Even the study of your matrix class, I was following with you, and there would be 100 people in the room getting lecture for those things.
Oh, it goes up to like 500 people, and now it's like not even there. You can't even go.
Right. So there seems to be these ebbs and waves. And I feel that integrated manual therapy, the IMT process, is here for a very long time. And if you really look at the constitution of acupuncture, if you look at the constitution of chiropractic work, they've made it over the 200-year mark, right? And now the 1,000-year marks of those. So I feel that the foundations of integrated manual therapy are here, and we're just transitioning of this new phase of how do we learn, and how do we touch, and how do we get back together again. And we've talked about developing podcasts together to get this workout even.
Yeah, and I was talking to somebody, and I want to follow up with her. Jen was talking to her, and then I've been playing. I have to follow up with her because I want to ask her, because we were on a hike and without her, but I was thinking about her because she wants to be an MD. But she doesn't want to go down the route and have to like battle the vaccine thing and all that. But it's like she has a ton of self-directed knowledge. She could help people heal right now, and she does. Right. But she was thinking maybe I need an MD degree, and I was thinking we need another thing. Like I thought with IMT, if somebody were trained just by you and they showed up and they learned how to read labs, and they learned a whole coursework on here's the clinical presentations of all these different kinds of conditions, so that they know what a medical doctor would know about, like what is MS and what is Lyme's and what is this and what is that and what is the standard treatment for this and what do the labs look like. If we had that in the mix, and then the nutrition piece, like a clinical nutritionist piece in the mix, and then the IMT, if basically if they could sit with you for a period of time, they could have, it feels like we need a new thing, not a thing like upledger's cranial sacral that just kind of comes and then sort of goes,
well, I feel that the Connecticut school offers all that, Ralph, because by the time you finish the school here, you are a healthcare professional. You have the tools of doing homeopathy, you have the tools of doing nutrition, you have the tools of medicine, you have the tools of body work, and you have the tools of learning and discovering the pathology. So, the medical book that they used to discuss everything was called the Merck Manual. And it was the book that listed all the type of diseases and the description of what is diabetes, who gets it, what population gets it, what are the causes of it, and what are the traditional Western medicine philosophies of it. So that book is about 4 inches thick when you flip through it. And 90% of all the things that they talk about there are incurable or incorrect. Like a broken bone could be cured, but you never outlive diabetes. You're always on diabetes. So that's something I say is incurable. But I feel that the lesson plan of integrated manual therapy is that we take and teach you touch therapies that apply from acupuncture to myofascial release to body work, and then go back and say, okay, if we take these tools and then we go back and read the science, how do we get those anatomical things to work better? You know, like how does the pancreas work better? How does this work better? So we are currently at the Connecticut School of Integrated Manual Therapy, a full profession that offers all those tools in that puzzle. And maybe the next step for the future, taking all the best of body work, all the best of energy work, and putting them in categories and saying, okay, this one really works for, you know, I had to address the anger about my parents here, and now I don't have this stomach ulcer. Or, boy, we better bring, maybe they got injured and the blood supply isn't there, and if we can fix up the blood supply, maybe that fixes the ulcer there. So those are some amazing tools. And the next piece I feel that the school brings is I always try to meet the new student where they are and bring up their intuition. If they got in because they could do long distance healing, we want to bring that up. If they got in because they help people meditate before, we want to bring that piece up. If they were a yoga instructor and they help some people get over their diabetes, those are all profound tools in how to say, okay, how does that address for the next person in line? And everybody's slightly different. So
you'll be learning along the way of how to get more of these different varied people's experiences and trainings to bring them up to speed with everything you've got, and then help them expand, bring some of their stuff into their version of how they do their.
So I know you went in your own path and journey. It was, you know, the school was just beginning forming, and then you went to do some matrix work, and then you went to do some price work. And so those help change your life significantly. And just to be having a set of tools, I feel like this is boot camp. IMT is boot camp, where you can accept and understand and then have a logical and a scientific way to see if it's working for you or not to the next level.
Yeah, this is so true. It's like what we have is we test things, and some from all sorts of different ways of testing, and then we have a way to assess the mapping, which is what, you know, tells you where is the physical thing, the mental, emotional, spiritual thing, the other stuff, and what's the primary thing for them. And then what we have is a way to then, well, let's retest it, but not like retest it a month from now. Let's retest it now and see what's different, and then keep seeing what's different as they go. And so you can fit any of these models into the IMT model. And as long as you're testing and you're retesting, and then you've got a system, which IMT does, of finding where's the primary thing in the moment that can unlock the most stuff. And then what's the next primary thing? What's the next primary thing? And now let's retest. You can start to add in any stuff you've learned, but IMT has the diagnostics, and not in a diagnostic like medical, kind of like we're diagnosing a condition, more like we're noticing where the person's body is having a hard time and helping them get more health there so that they can heal themselves. I think we do have, when I was thinking about that, we do have this next level of practitioner. And so in IMT model. And so, so with this system, do you see like one of the things, one of the benefits of going to, say, a chiropractor or a naturopath or even acupuncturist, I believe, is you can get your labs done and have them read your labs and understand them from their point of view and from a medical point of view. And it's somewhat comforting to a lot of people to know that their practitioner knows that. Does IMT have a lab course or a way to understand lab? I know you understand labs.
Yeah, we do. We group that topic as functional medicine, right? So under that, and my mentor of functional medicine was this gentleman named Jeffrey Bland. He was a PhD out of the University of Washington, and he's sort of considered the grandfather of nutrition and science.
Metagenics was one of his things.
So he actually developed the Institute of Functional Medicine, and there's probably about, last time I heard, at least 80,000 medical doctors that have taken his classwork to really get in and understand the lab test instead of throwing, you know, Western medicine says, I'm going to do this blood work on you. Oh, and your cholesterol is high, so let's just go in give you a medication for this. And what the traditional Western medicine does is they have these numbers and they know at this number, you're healthy, and this number, I got to give you a drug. And what Jeffrey Brand blotted into it was, but what if we give zinc and vitamin C, and how can we change these over time? And he started to change that whole process. He actually fought in the 80s and 90s to get the words medical food passed by the FDA, where these nutrition companies can actually put good products into a food or into a powder and make a shake for you, and they will be medicinally helpful. Like you can have a medical food that actually lowers your cholesterol. And so they're under our functional umbrella, we bring up those classes like, okay, this is what cholesterol means to the Western doctors. This is what cholesterol means to us. And here are 4 things we can do. Is it diet, or is it body work, or what are we really asking of those pieces? So those are incorporated into the coursework nowadays.
They are, okay, that's awesome. So somebody could, if somebody going all the way through it could get their labs, you know, go to a lab, get their labs, whatever labs they need to get done, and an IMT person that's fully trained in the system of IMT could read it, but also read it not just from a traditional standpoint, but from a Jeffrey Bland kind of standpoint.
Right. So, you know, we talk about those. When I went to chiropractic school, one of the first days of the class, the professor that came up and said, you know, you're going to learn this education, but it's like taking a sip of water from a fire hydrant.
Yep.
That's so even though, and you remember this in physical therapy school, you had to memorize for the test and then you forget it. You memorize for the test and you forget it. Even though we put the information out there, how many people are really comfortable in doing their particular.
It's kind of like I was reading Richard Feynman's book. I think that's his name, the quantum physics guy. I'm not sure if he's even alive anymore, but he had a book about surely you're joking, Mr. Feynman. I think they should have called him Dr. Feynman, PhD physics.
Yeah.
But he said he would give these scenarios, these little problem sets, like what happens if you blast off at this speed and you've got 2 clocks and you know, how would you know you get back at this time and you're just this much older and the clock is just this much different? He would have all sorts of like experiments like that he would give high level quantum physics guys, and they wouldn't know the answer, and they'd have to like, wow, well, let's try to figure this out. And he's like, oh my God, you don't understand your own physics. Like you don't understand the math. You've written by rote, you've memorized some equations, but if you don't understand what the equation means, and you should already know the answer to this based on the understanding of this equation. And so it's kind of like that, like not just memorizing this cholesterol number means this, but having an understanding where it's bigger than that.
Yeah. So, and medicine and technologies are going up so fast. And there's new devices, you know, like even the Apple Watch. Wearing an Apple Watch nowadays can predict your level of diabetes faster than a lab test can do it.
Yeah, there's a doctor that left the Cleveland Clinic and ended up at Scripps La Jolla. I think he's still there. And he has an app that you put some stuff, electrodes on the person. It's on a smartphone. The doctor can be anywhere and read the thing also. And they can read almost everything that you can read in an ICU. They can read it over their smartphone.
Right. So, and even the prediction of flu and viruses are being measured by Google nowadays. When people are asking, I have a sniffle nose, they can predict when the flu and the CDC is using those matrices to mix all this stuff together. So it's a really exciting time. I just was reviewing a doctor from India that was able to digitize pulse diagnosis.
Whoa.
And you put that on your wrist and you wear it, and it measures your heart rate and gives the story from that piece of point of view. And I've been doing tongue diagnosis for a good 20 years. And when clients come in the room, we go, okay, we're going to get a posture picture of you, but we're also going to take a tongue selfie. And from the tongue, actually really, I can tell them their whole story of their digestion within 15 minutes of when they come in the door. And I can say, you know, you're allergic to this, you have that. But that's information that's been there for 6,000 years. At some point.
Yeah, and I remember when I went to my hairdresser years ago, and my hair was falling out, and I was really irritated. My digestion was icky, and I was waking up at 3 a.m, and I was like, "What is going on?" And my hairdresser asked me what I did, and she goes, "Well, then I can ask you, what's up with your kidney? And you got to get off of Wi-Fi, man." And so she could read my eyes, and I've learned so many things from hairdressers, plumbers, baristas, and business coaches. Like, if somebody's got gifts and training, and if they fix something, this IMT model could be a framework, if it resonates with you, to like bring your stuff in a holistic, integrative, comprehensive way. And of course, you still got to go clear your inner game stuff, because it'll bring up a lot of your fears and doubts and insecurities and imposter syndrome when you start to put yourself out there. But there's a way to, if somebody's a healer, or they want to be a healer, or they know they've got something like that, or they've solved something, this IMT model, I thought it was such a wonderful system, because I had been training in cranial sacral therapy, upledger, and visceral manipulation, and mechanical link. And then I had Institute of Physical Art and the Rolfing model, and Feldenkrais, and PNF. And I had all these different diagnostic ways to like try to figure out what to do. Like, okay, somebody comes in with a problem, what do I do? And IMT was cool, because it's like, well, let's map the body first and get the story and see, where do we even work? And what are we dealing with? Are we dealing with a heart, or sadness in a heart? Are we dealing with, a liver, or are we dealing with, a kidney? And what is it? And why is it, what's the story, and where do you start? And then you can decide, where do you pull from? So that's one of the gifts that IMT has for people.
Right. Well, my biggest hope for my students are that they can take whatever gifts they have and whatever tools that they learn or go study with, and they can put it into this model and see if it does a significant change. And so far, and this is something you've been practicing this for a while too, is you could go to a new system and you put it in this model, and you can actually see before and afters immediately. And if the tissues change, you've gotten some good progress out of the process. So some practitioners don't want to, it's a self-confidence issue. Sometimes it's, well, I'm just going to leave it there. But the IMT, I feel, brings a physical truth to the process. Did I make a change? Well, here's the thing I found. I'm going to apply this. I go back and check it. Did I make a change or not? And the body's going to tell me that piece. And then instead of wait till have the person come back. And a lot of naturopaths, like, they give lots of supplements. They'll go, well, I think you need zinc. I think you need this. And they wait and see what your response is, instead of saying, boy, the body did change, and I really like this one, or I didn't like this piece before. Yep. So,
that's how I bought a hair product from my hairdresser just yesterday, or just this weekend, because I tested it, and it's like, oh my goodness, this tastes as good as any supplement I would eat. And it was made out of silk and silica, silk and silica for your hair. And it's like from Italy, and she finally found a version of that. And so it was like, oh my God, this feels good. It did have essential oil that made me feel a little like, I feel kind of light and wonderful. Like, I don't know if I want to put essential oil in my body every day, but yeah, you can test it. And it reminds me of the idea, like, I forgot who told me about this, but basically you could have 20 years of experience, but if your experience is you see somebody, you do a bunch of stuff, and you wait for a week or 2 or 3 or 4 or 3 months and see if they're any better, you don't know what worked. And if you instead have your hypothesis, here's what I see, you do something and you get a result, they're either better or worse or different, you got some information. And if you get 10 people like that, then you know, oh, that works. And if you get 3 people that it still doesn't work, it's like you test a few more things. It's like, one more of them gets well here. And in 20 years, you've got 20 years of experience. But if you're doing it the other way of just doing stuff that you've been trained in, and then waiting a month or 2 and seeing if it makes a difference, you don't have 20 years of experience. You have 1 year of experience times 20. It's kind of like IMT gives us a framework to like test something. It's so valuable.
Yeah, and that's still our quandary is, how do you teach something new to somebody and be aware of it? And it's how do you teach touch over in the internet is still something hard for me to look at.
Yeah, yeah. And I know you did it with some people but they had been used to training under you for a long time. You did some with Zoom. So it's definitely going to happen. I can see it.
Sure is. Yeah.
And we're going to work on it.
Hopefully we'll be able to jump around and do, have, education sites where we can actually help people touch. And, we have a big community of senior students that can help.
I've got an idea. I'm going to jump on this with you privately right after this for just a second. So I'm going to end it a little sooner because I think I've got an idea. And and what I want everybody to do is if the idea of being and I think all healing comes from God, but being somebody that healing comes through and being able to do this kind of stuff. If you want that, and I think so many moms really want that, and parents with kids that have problems. If you want to do this sort of thing, this is, I feel, the biggest framework because you can test anything, any other system under it. And email Tom, info@imtwellnesscenter.com, and let him know. You can go to imtwellnesscenter.com and find all of his information and get on his list and stuff. And let him know there's a need, like my friend who's starting to reach out to me about this. And then email me. You can find me. Go to autoimmuneanswers.com and then just enter your email and then send me an email. You get an email from me and just send me an email. And we'll start to get a list of people that want to do this. And he's going to be doing his hands-on version in Connecticut. I used to travel every month, once or twice a month for over 10 years. I was somewhere on a plane in the United States or Canada following Tom around. So you don't have to go that. We're working on a way to make it where you don't have to spend that kind of time and money, and but still have a level of expertise in how to use a system that is this comprehensive.
So I still, and I know you do too, Ralph, is we still seek out our own education and healing. So just COVID's made it a little slower this year, but I do spend about $10,000 to $20,000 a year in listening from other experts in the world, just to hear and see what they're doing and try and incorporate it in and discover things. So the day that I stop saying that I don't know everything is the day I should stop helping people heal. Right. So
and Robert Goldberg, the guy that Touch of Life, if you don't have that book, he's incredible. Andrew Weil wrote about him, but he was in his late 90s, and the week before he died, he was showing somebody some new technique he had just learned. Another DO.
It was a good talk, Ralph. So
really good. I'll jump off because I want to just ask you, run an idea by you, and so reach out, everybody. Let us know what's up, and if you're interested in this, let us know. So info@imtwellnesscenter.com and autoimmuneanswers.com. Send us some emails. I'm going to put a save thing on this. Save for where's Miracles, Magic, and Coffee.
everybody next week.
Yeah, really good to see you. Okay, so now let me just turn all this off so that we can chat a bit. Turn recording off.
Recording.